accept our invitation. This meeting is organised by the Wyndham Action Group. The Wyndham Action Group, led by Patricia, is a group of like-minded ratepayers who want really to keep the council honest, because there are a lot of things that the group feels need to be clarified and need to be a lot of questions answered. And so today, this is our first council meeting. Patricia will give you a little presentation over what's going on around here, and then we'll be open to a question and answer session. Thank you.
Hi. So what I've done is I've put some information which will be helpful for residents to get to know. Because one of the things about the city is that it's grown very quickly, as you all know, over the last 10 years for sure. We're the fastest growing city in the state, and with the size that we are now, we have 11 councillors at the council at the moment covering that area, and it's only going to get bigger. They project it'll end up being about 500,000 by the time we get to 2040. And one of the reasons we're here giving this information is because of Plan 2040, which is what they are saying they are going to do for the future of the city through the planning. So we'll be talking about that today. So what we've done is I've put some PowerPoints up, and one of the things that people need to know about our area is that we're split up into three what I call wards. So depending on the area that you live in, is the councillor that's looking after you for that area. So if you live in the outer skirts of the city of Wyndham, which includes Werribee, you're in the Irrimu ward. If you're in the north, you're in the Chaffey ward, and if you're on the right-hand side there, on the border of the next city, that's now called Harrison. So they are the three wards. So if you are in the Harrison ward, you are included in the industrial precincts of the city, which includes Laverton, Laverton North, Point Cook, Truganina, Williams Landing, and some parts of Hoppers Crossing. So within that, we have 4 councillors that look after your area. So if you ever want to know who it is you need to contact directly, they're the ones. As you can see there, we've got the Mayor, which is Susan McIntyre. She looks after a portfolio. Each of the councillors have a portfolio or specific area that they look after. So with Susan McIntyre, she looks after the community safety portfolio. So if you ever have any problems with the safety of people in their homes and neighbourhoods, she's the person that you need to speak to. We also have the next councillor, Adele Kevich is her name. She looks after the Healthy City portfolio. So if you ever have any questions about health, she looks at it through basically making services available to all, regardless of what their backgrounds are. Learning City is Councillor Jasmine Hill. She'll be arriving today as well to say hello to people. She's just at another event, so she'll come here a little bit later, so you can meet her as well. She looks after the Learning City portfolio, so obviously her specialty is education in the area. And then you've got Sahana Ramesh. She looks after the Smart City portfolio. I don't know if many of you know that Wyndham is a smart city. That plan was already approved. They're already introducing initiatives. I don't know if you've seen around Werribee the smart bins. There's smart barbecues. There's cameras in the car parks. There's drones being introduced. Solar power, all sorts of things, initiatives to do with this program. But that's another talk for another day. We've got the Irrimu ward. That covers the planning districts of Wyndham West and Wyndham Rural. So that's Werribee, Wyndham Vale, Manor Lakes, Little River, and Werribee South. So all the way to the other end, like I mentioned earlier. So Councillor Peter Maynard is looking after the active city portfolio. So he's the one that looks after the leisure facilities, so sporting clubs and the like. Then you've got the future-focused economy portfolio headed by Mia Shaw. And so she's looking at developing strategies to attract employment into Wyndham. Then you've got Heather Marcus, gracious Heather, she's here today. She looks after the Destination Wyndham portfolio. So she's looking at the tourism side of things, and she's very active in setting up events for residents to turn up to. I went to one just recently, Dance on the Floor, which was at the Cultural Centre. It was a lovely night, and we had volunteers dancing with professional dancers. It was actually really fun. And they raised some much needed funds for some of the charities here, which was, I think, Wyndham Health and Story Dogs. Is that right?
Story Dogs.
Story Dogs.
20,000.
20,000, so very well done. Very well done, Heather. That was great. Then we've got the Traffic Board, which covers the centre of Wyndham. So that looks after Tarneet, parts of Werribee and Hoppers Crossing, so up the north end. So you've got Josh Gilligan, he looks after the city design portfolio, so to make this area more livable. Then you've got Marcel Mahfoud, he looks after the creative city portfolio. So the arts, that's his area. And then you've got Jenny Barrera. Is she still the Deputy Mayor at the moment? Yeah, she is. So she's a Deputy Mayor. She looks after the Welcome in the City portfolio. She promotes, obviously, cultural diversity and just looks for opportunities for people. Then you've got the last one. We've got Robert Stakowski. I hope that's how I pronounced that correctly. He looks after climate, futures and environment, because that's another big area now that's been introduced into the Local Government Act that they want to focus on. The next thing is, I don't know if any of you all know about the Loop. There is an area in the council website called the Loop. There's the thing there, and if you ever want to be updated on what the council is working on right now, whether it's a proposal of a plan, whether you want to give feedback or you want to know what's going on, you just sign up into the Loop and then they let you know when a new thing comes in. You can just jump on there and click on any of the initiatives that are in there. At the moment, the main one that's up there is the budget proposal, which is going to be decided on next month. They're looking for feedback on that right now. That closes tomorrow. So I urge people to go and have a look at it, because this particular budget is going to be a steep one. It's a very hard budget for them to put together, and they are going to borrow lots of money, probably about $68 million this year alone, because they don't have enough to do what they need to do. Another thing I mentioned, we go to these meetings. The council has public meetings that the residents can go and attend. You can't actually speak at them, but you can certainly attend and see what they're doing, and you can submit written questions if you want something clarified. So they happen every month is the normal, every month for the council meeting, and then they also have planning meetings. We turn up to the council ones every month. They're at 7 o'clock. They're at the Civic Centre every 4th Tuesday. So if you want to catch up with us, we'll be there. And also put some contact details for the council. If you live locally, you know that the Civic Centre's on the highway there. They're open every day 9 to 4, and that's their general email. One of the other last things I want to touch on before we go on about the plan is that the Local Government Act is the act that actually the councils abide by. And that was introduced in 1989. Over the COVID lockdowns, they were updated and changed. So it's now the Local Government Act of 2020. And they state that the role of the council is to provide good governance in their municipal district for the benefit and well-being of the municipal community. I don't know about you, but that's pretty general to me. It's not very specific at all. I thought councils were rates, roads and rubbish. That's mainly what they're there for, but anyway. So I went a little bit further, and we don't need to read through all of this, but there are a couple of things I thought were interesting. They have introduced the economic, social and environmental sustainability. So they're looking at mitigation and planning for climate change risks. That's been introduced into law now. So the councils have to abide by that. And the bottom one is the ongoing financial viability of the council is to be ensured. So the ratepayers' money is what's going to keep them going, and they've got to keep that going in to be able to keep going forward, and they've got to handle our money responsibly. The next one is the transparency of council decisions, actions and information is to be ensured. How many of you believe that the council is very transparent about their actions? Yes, that's a good question, isn't it? And I'm not saying that they all, obviously the councillors and staff are like that, but yes, the processes definitely need to be looked at. And then we've got a new section which was called the Community Engagement Principles, and this is one of the processes that we're having an argument with the council about right now in regards to the plan. How many of you knew about the plan? Did the council approach any of you directly? Apart from it going up on the website, did any of you receive letters about it? A couple of you? Yeah. Because when we approached the council with our concerns about that, we said that, well, the Act says you're supposed to be engaging with the community and you've got to be able to explain it, and we've all got to be part of the engagement process. But everyone that we've spoken to, either they don't know anything about it at all, or if they do know about it, they don't know very much. So I find that to be concerning, and that's one of the things that we're working with the council with at the moment. Then that's going to bring us now to the Wyndham 2040 plan. So we put out a flyer ourselves, which gave a little bit of information about it and asked questions because we had concerns. How many of you actually were part of the decision-making process or even attended the feedback sessions for this plan? Well, members of our group did, but the feedback sessions some of them were online and some of them were face-to-face, and with the face-to-face ones, there was a lot of negativity in those feedback sessions, precisely because residents were concerned, one, they didn't know anything about it, and two, it wasn't explained to them very well and they weren't given much of an opportunity to give much feedback on this plan, which I find concerning because this plan is large. It will affect the landscape of the city in the next 10 to 15 years, going up to 2040. It will be adjusting the way that we live. They'll be pushing us to walk and cycle more and use cars less because of the climate issues. They're going to be planting many more trees than what we already have now, which means they're going to make more public green spaces. They want to push residents into high-density living closer to the railway stations. So there's a lot of things that are coming that residents don't know about. So this map here shows you how they're going to approach it. So in the heart of the city where Werribee is the heart, and then all the major suburbs each have their own little neighbourhood pulse, they call it. So they're reaching this forward like this, calling them village pulses, because they want to introduce what they call 20-minute neighbourhoods. They want to make it so that you can walk to everything you need within 20 minutes of where you live. That is the premise behind this plan. They're not calling it that, but on the website and on the plan, if you read through it, that is exactly what it is. They are going to be introducing extra transport. So they want to add in more train lines and a tram down the centre of Gerard Road to make people have more access to that and not need your car. They want to make the neighbourhoods residential, sorry. And then of course they're going to also be focusing on what they call the green lungs, because we're quite fortunate in our city that we have access to coast and greenery. We're not all just totally suburban here, so they're going to focus on that as well. So if you can look at the map here, they're intending to put a train loop around Werribee itself that you can jump on and jump off. The tram line going up Derwent Road, and an extra, as you can see this little thing here, there's the metro line, there's a V line, they want to connect the metro and the V line together. There's a lot of different things they want to introduce. It's not going to happen overnight because that's a huge amount of development, so it's going to happen over years, but that's the plan. So they introduced this plan over a period of a few years. So I took this off the website about the proposal. They have what they call a Wyndham 2040 community vision. They say they spoke to the residents and this is what the residents wanted. yes, a safe, connected and inclusive community, which everybody would want. It's a lofty thing. Obviously, the idea behind it is great. They mention obviously the First Nations people, that we're a very multicultural city, that our infrastructure and services need to support everyone, that local employment is important, and they want to preserve the natural environment and lifestyle we have out here. So that's their vision behind this plan that they say the residents have asked for. You probably won't read this very well, but I took the timeline of the Wyndham plan off the loop to show you. They initially started with the engagement process in May to July of 2019, and now they're getting up to the final part, and they're pushing for the decision to go before the council on the 25th of July at that council meeting for that month. They're currently putting together the feedback report of all of the residents who submitted, whether it was online or at these feedback sessions. So I'm interested to see what's in that report, because that report will be provided to the councillors before they make their decision.
Funny you should say that, because apparently I've seen on Facebook that 2019 also is registered for The Voice. I think they're registered.
Oh, yes, they introduced quite a bit, yes, just before then. I just plonked in our flyer. We got a flyer printed up with information about the plan, and just basically asking the questions that we had concerns about, that we thought other residents would want to know, because they probably have the same concerns we do. But we found when we were going out into the streets and talking about this, that nobody really knew about it, to even have that opinion. So it's very important. One of our obviously ideas behind this action group is information. We want to be able to inform the residents, because it's very difficult to make a decision if you're not fully informed. You need to know everything that's going on. So you can say, yes.
Will this information that you're giving us, from our perspective, will that be put onto the Werribee Action Group Facebook?
Yes, I have. We've got a Facebook page set up, and I just released we've got our own website up now. So I will be putting information up on the website for you, so that you can go and, whatever I research and I find out, we can put onto that website for you and just give you an update. If you're involved with our group, we meet every fortnight, and we discuss the things that have happened and not happened, with whatever we're trying to do. So you keep up to date with that.
What's your website address?
It's our name, cityofwyndhamactiongroup.com. Yeah, so you'll be able to find it. So thank you for all coming along and listening to me ogle for about 15-20 minutes. And so that leaves us at the end of our chat. I'm not going into great detail here, because the Wyndham plan is 90 pages long, so we can't go into that great detail here, but I'm certainly happy to answer questions, and if we can. And I would like to invite Heather up so you can meet her and have a bit of a meet and greet with Heather, because she's here, and hopefully Jasmine will turn up soon. And then we can launch into those questions. And I want to be able to just let you know, all of your questions we want to record so that we can follow them up with the council. We can't answer them today. Okay? Thank you.
This is fantastic, what I'm seeing here today. If I had been beaten at the last council election, this is exactly what I was going to do, because I've been on the council now for 17 and a half years, and I'm feeling very disheartened at what I'm seeing. I don't think we're doing what we did years ago. The councillors we had, a lot of them were business people, and at this stage it's really, Sahana is a business lady, Jenny runs the community centre, and I've been in business all my life, but I don't think we've got a really good mix of councils, and I think that's what we've got to look at. We've got to get business people on the council, and that's what, when the Werribee South were with you a month ago, because I missed Tuesday night, that's exactly what Chris Pavlidis, he's been there with me this morning. He goes through the budget with me because he's a forensic accountant, because a councillor cannot know everything, because planning is our toughest one, then of course the financial side of everything. And so we've got a lot to do, so that's why I've got a lot of wonderful people behind me going through all the different Another very good group that's set up is the Werribee Traffic Group. Tim Palace gave me $5 million to do a traffic report. So the action group was set up because $5 million to do a traffic report here is a good amount of money. But this is our problem. We are gridlocked. We can't move. But I did notice when I looked at his budget, he promised $120 million into the Land Road, and I did not see that. So that's going to be one of my questions. Where has the $120 million gone that was promised for the Land Road? What we've got to do, and what we're starting to do here, we need people to hold the councillors and the councils to account. And this has not been happening. And so therefore, if we can get a good, strong group, but I said that, please don't fall off, please stay in the group, please stay working, please educate yourself on what the council is supposed to be doing. I really think after what I'm seeing, with all this fancy names that Trisha's just gone through, smart city, let's go back to the olden days and have roads, rates and rubbish. That's what we need. Because if we can't move from all parts of the city, it's going to make it difficult. I think at the moment we are the fastest growing city in Australia. And what's happening, I was on the National Growth Areas Alliance, which is a group that all Australia-wide, but they are very interested in the outer fringe areas, which Werribee is one. And so all of these areas, Whittlesea, Cranbourne down there, Casey, and then up here to Wyndham and Melton, we are on the fringe. So this is where the land is, this is where the developments are, because the developers see, oh, his cheap land will go out, we'll buy it, and then we'll develop it. And sadly, what we're seeing now is the blocks are coming out at 300 and 400 square metres, which is too small. They talk about greening the city. We're one of the worst for greening the city. So, this makes it very difficult. I'm sitting on a lovely block around there, opposite the football ground. I could put 6 stories on that block. I will not be doing it. I will sit there as a little old lady and enjoy the garden, and everybody that comes, oh, you're so lucky. But this is what I mean. We've got to watch the planning. We're governed by the state government with the planning. But I think each council should be saying, we don't want to do what everybody else is doing. We want a livable city. We talk about a livable city. At the moment, I don't think it's a livable city. I think we've got so much trouble. Every night you hear an accident, or you hear a robbery, or you hear something else. So these are the things that we've all got to come together to actually work together to make sure we get what we want. We deserve it. We are here in this city, and we deserve to have the best out here. And the only way we're going to have the best is get stuck into your councillors. Yes, you can get stuck into them. My policy is open door. You can ring me anytime you like. Everybody's beginning to know that I live around there in the White House in Watt Street with a quirky garden. And anybody is welcome to knock on my door and come and speak to me. And that's what it should be. We shouldn't be hiding up there. My friend calls it bullshit castle. She's a very good business lady, and she says, Heather, what's going on in bullshit castle? And, so really and truly, I don't want it to be known like that. I want us to be able to work. Now, what is going to happen at the next election in 2024? The government has decided that they want single ward councillors, which means there's only one councillor in a ward. And because we've grown so big, they're looking at putting 13 boards. I like the idea of single wards because what I see and what I've seen over the past, I believe councillors become competitive. You've got to be the best one in the ward, and I don't think that works. So I quite like single wards. When my ex-husband was in council, they had single wards and they had 12 councillors. So we're going to have 13 wards. At this stage, we don't know how they're going to divide the wards up. We're not sure whether Werribee South will go Point Cook like it did in the state government, but we will be told that in November. I think that's so. People like this group here, like the traffic group, and the traffic group are very experienced people. One of them still works for big roads. They know. So this is what I'm saying. I think Tricia, you're doing a wonderful, wonderful job. You're learning. I'm still learning because the state government put new rules and conditions over it. And I've always said I don't think we need state government, we need council, we need federal government. Because, and what I see now, the other problem is going to be the state government's got more debt than Tasmania, New South Wales and Queensland, so they're going to have to make cuts. Now, is that a cut? Tim Callis has already gone back on his promise, $120,000 to do part of the land road. What other cuts are going to come? The biggest cut is there's a growing suburbs fund. That's where the state government give money to the suburbs to, like we got money to fix up the cultural centre. Well, I think that's a waste of money too, because being an event coordinator, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Put it into something that we really need. But that fund was 50 million, they've cut it to 10 million. Now that's Victoria-wide. So that means 79 councils in Victoria. Divide that into 10 million, what are we going to get? The state government have got so much debt, they've got to cut. Now we're going back, and the council this year, the state government, I'm probably rambling a bit, the state government put a rate cap on how much the councils can increase the rates by. And about 5 years ago, councils could put a big percentage on to increase your rates. Now they can't. So the government has, and I believe that's good. So this year we can increase the rates by 3.5%. The other issue you've got, state government now do the valuation of the properties every 12 months, because that helps them get more revenue, because the increase in property values, and that's what your property is, how it's rated by. So some people's rates go down, some people's rates go up. But the council said that they really can't survive on a 3.5% rate cap. And so, they want to now borrow money to do a lot of our other things. So Josh Billy and I probably, maybe the other two is probably one of those to council, because we do not want us to go into debt like everybody else in this. And of course now, with the interest rates going up, that's causing building materials have gone up 40%, everything's gone up 40%. The interest rates, they believe, will probably go up another couple of percent this year, which is going to cause more problems. So, not a happy picture, but it is a happy picture, because I'm so glad to see all of you sitting here today, and we are going, I'll say, we are going to make a difference to this council. So we need your voice to rise up and say, no, no, no. This is what we want. Okay?
Thank you, Heather. So we're going to launch into question time. Yes?
Would everyone be aware that this whole idea of smart cities is part of the globalist agenda, and that the state government is in bed with the globalists?
Yes.
Well, as I said earlier, I could launch into a whole 3 hours about smart city, and I can do that another time, because there is a lot of information with that. But at the moment, that particular plan was already approved during lockdown. Did anyone know about it?
Right.
Well, so we can't really do as much about that as we can do about the 2040 plan, yes.
So when we attended one of the meetings, Aaron Planner, Aaron Johns, didn't even know about the communities. They are just lying.
Well,
They're lying to the people, they're not informing the people, and when they do inform the people, they lie.
well, the planning department have a set of ideas that they're given by the above. It's not them, but it's what they're, it's the job they're given.
It is that, because I drew the attention to about the 20th city. They knew that.
Yes. Well, do you realise I got yelled at every feedback session? I intended them to.
But you watch and see the online surveys, and that will be all positive.
Yes, that is one of the questions we want to work with the council because even in this plan, if you look at the information within it and previous feedback that's been provided from previous things where they've talked to residents, what they tend to do is they carefully craft the questions to get the answers that they want. It's never anything negative. They don't like introducing negative things, so if a resident has concerns, they word it very carefully in it. And they also skew the statistics in there. They'll say, oh, what big 89% of people were agreeable to this thing, but they don't point out that they only spoke to 504 people out of a city of over 300,000 residents. So they make it look the way that they want it to look, and that is not what the Act says they should be doing, right? The Act says they have to be in part of the engagement process. It has to be explained to the residents what's going to happen, and that hasn't happened here. Hence why at the feedback sessions, everybody like yourself was asking these questions and was getting upset with the answers that the planning department were giving because they were all very general, or I don't know.
No, I think we've got to call it out. They're lying.
Yeah.
They're just lying.
That's what 20-minute neighbourhoods are. If you read the plan, it specifically says 20-minute neighbourhoods in there, right? It's not like we're pulling that out of the air. Yeah. Yes?
All due respect, Miss Marcus, we've had 18 years not lead us into this party. We've done that. Now all of a sudden it's a big deal.
Well,
It makes no sense. You've seen it coming 18 years in council. You just sat there.
no, I'll tell you what it is. Yeah. I'll tell you what that is.
We've all let it happen.
Yes, it's true. It's true. It's marched on for years. When you do the research, if you look inside the plan and you read back all the reports, they go back to 1987. There was a report released by the World Health Organization in 1987. This has been a long march that's been coming through all of the governments and through the councils for many years. So, yes, so it's been going on a long time, and the councillors can only see the part that they are on. It's to see the overall window. You're just starting to notice it now because it's starting to move really fast.
Is the climate change, is that going to involve like the carbon footprint rubbish and all that?
Yes, yes.
It's a waste of money. It's all BS. And it's been proven BS, you know.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. See, the state government is the one that actually provides the agenda to the councillors every year, right, as to what they want, how they want things to go. So the fact that they've introduced it into the Act is something that you can't avoid. You have to be fighting the government on every level about climate change. Yes. So, so for us, they will be embedding these climate change ideas into their planning. That's what this is about, right? So part of the flow on from this plan is that's why we'll be walking and cycling everywhere and not driving cars. They intend to phase out cars because they don't want us to use petrol, they want us to use electric vehicles. And without, everyone who's got a good head on their shoulders knows that this renewable energy and these electric vehicles cause as much damage to the environment as the others do. But yes, this is something as residents, if you want to be involved in that as part of the planning, you want to have your say, that's why we're getting more active as part of this group. We want to be able to go to the council and push back and say, we want our particular city to be livable. They're going to climate change and sustainability and whatever it is that they choose to do. So as residents, if you don't believe that's the path that you want us to go on, you have to push back. You have to say to the planners, no, we don't believe that's the right way to go, right? So for instance, if any of you want to see where this is leading, go to Sunshine, because Sunshine, and that's the suburbs in that city, are already a template or a trial run for where we're headed, right? So over in Sunshine, it's closer to the city, so it's a little bit different to us. We're a bit more rural, but there, if you just look at Maribyrnong River, along Maribyrnong River, there are literally thousands of apartments built into the side of the river with one road in and out. Enough parking for one car, and then maybe say 6 or so on your street car spaces for any visitors. So they're always fighting for parking, and that has been purposely done. It forces you to not have a car and use the transport. This is the way they're going to introduce it through the plan. If any of you've read the plan, they intend to use PILs, which are logistics, which are in a nice way of saying they're going to introduce rules, maybe overlays through planning schemes, to say, to gently nudge residents into doing what they want them to do. That means not driving cars. They will face our cars and they will push electric vehicles. That's coming.
It seems to tie with the voice in their agenda for taking our properties as well.
The voice is a separate thing because that's a federal thing. It's not as much involved with here, but I've got an example.
There's links there.
I've got an example I want to bring to your attention about that. In the last, not the last meeting, but the previous meeting before that, there was a motion introduced by Councillor Jenny Barrera, who wanted to, through her Welcome City portfolio, wanted to put educational packs together for the residents in Wyndham. She wanted to be able to explain to them how referendums work and to provide every resident with a copy of the Uluru Statement from the Heart. Do you all know what that is? Okay, well it is a statement that was put forward by the government which talks about focusing on recognition in the Constitution for First Nations people, for Indigenous people, right? And we tried to talk to them at that meeting about that, but as I said, we're not allowed to speak. We were unhappy with the way that was done. I wrote into the council and I stated that according to their records, we have a community of roughly around 2,500 Indigenous people here in Wyndham, and they already have many programs and everything up and running. And I did not believe that, this is just my personal opinion, not everyone's going to agree with me, I don't believe that they should be political and ideological like that. It's not the council's job to do that. If you want to give information to residents about the referendum, then you show them both sides of the question and you leave it up to the residents, who are not stupid by the way, who can make up their own mind about whether they are agreeing to having this voice or not. As you know, it's out in the public that the government wants the yes vote. They're not even giving the no vote much of a chance. But I very much believe that. I don't believe the council should be political like that. They should be independent. That's one of the things I love about Heather. She's an independent. She's not part of any of the parties. She does what's right for the residents. It's one of the reasons why I am connected with her, because I believe in her. So not all of the councillors are like that though. And when I argued about it, this woman, this is how she treated me. She turned her back to me in the meeting and talked about it to the others as if to say how stupid we were to question her. And they passed the motion. She said, no, we're not doing that. We're not mentioning the voice. There's nothing about the voice in the motion. But the fact is, the Uluru Statement from the Heart specifically states recognition in the Constitution. Right? So if you're giving that information to residents, only one side of the argument and how to do the referendum, what do you think that says? Does it say only do the yes vote? I don't think I'm wrong there, but yeah, I'll be following that up. That's one of the things I'm not happy about.
No, you're not wrong with that, but they don't want you to know about referendums, because most referendums fail.
We don't.
Supposing that we get, say, 100,000 people on side with us, what we're aiming to do, what impact will that have on the council, and can the state government just ignore us?
Well, this is one important thing for you to remember. I think it was last week or the week before, it was in the paper that all of the mayors of all the councils went and had a meeting in the city because of their concerns about all of the residents turning up to their meetings expressing dissatisfaction at the decisions they were making. Not only about drag queen story time, but about everything. So what we have is we've actually gone through this. We've had at council meetings security guards posted because the councillors were afraid for their safety because they didn't like the fact that residents were going to these meetings to express that. They were going there to seek help because they're afraid for their lives from residents, concerned residents. I don't consider that to be a very positive way to deal. Yes, Heather.
The councils have just done a new policy now because they are concerned about residents turning up. And so they've spoken with the police on how they're going to manage the council meetings. And so it happened in the last term. The mayor of the day asked everyone to leave the council meeting because they were afraid of what was going to happen. I said, no, I'm not leaving the council meeting, and I was the only councillor that stayed with the people. And I've told them, don't ever ask me to leave the council people. I was elected by the people. I know the people are not going to knock me down, so I will not leave. But this is the new regulations now. If the mayor asks you to leave that council chamber, you are nearly required to leave. So I'm waiting for it to be tested. But to get this information the other day, this is what I find really concerning, is the fact that all these new policies now, I believe the reconciliation policy, the gender equity policy, I believe it's dividing our community.
Yes, it is.
I've never met them, but we have Indigenous relations, which doesn't give me the right to call myself Indigenous. And my niece, the one that just called before that I couldn't stay to talk to, she found one of our Indigenous relations, and that girl, we thought sport, we thought it was going to be a boy, but she's very well educated. And when my niece said, how many, she said, Belinda, there is that many of us, half of them are no good, you wouldn't want to know them. And I said this to Jenny Barrera when she keeps pushing the reconciliation. Oh, she said, soon you've got the right, you'll vote for the referendum, won't you? I said, no, because I'm going to ask my cousin. And then she said to me, I said, no, my cousin said no. Oh, she said, well, that's only 3%. But what we've got to worry about, every citizenship, every time the politicians turn up, they say, I support the vote for the referendum, and they're virtually telling all of those new citizens to vote for the referendum. I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong. If whoever went to my dad and brother, you would know so for the world country. And then when the politician jumped up, he said, oh, well, that would have been done, and I thought, yeah, no. I believe that we are dividing the country with many of the policies that they are now implementing into the council. Unfortunately, at the moment, Josh Gilligan and I don't get the support. We call it a block of 6, and because it's 11 councillors, 6 can make and determine the votes on the night. So that's an issue we've got. So this is why we've got to look at, when the next council elections come up, we've got to look for really, really good people, and really probably need to start out there now getting to know the residents. Now, what I plan to do, because I was out with, when Paul Hopper was out there, I went out with him one day. I knew about 10 people that walked into that shopping centre. That's all. And then last Sunday they asked us to go out and hand out leaflets. Over 50% didn't want to know us, did not want to know us, didn't want to take the budget papers, nothing. And then I was going to go out last Wednesday, but then I couldn't because I had. But I am going to go out there, and I am going to go out there and sit all day to learn and know the people. And this is what we've got to do if we want to get onto council in the next election. We've got to know the people, because at the moment we don't know.
Thanks for that update. That's good to know. I just wanted to give you another quick update to what happened at the last council meeting. There were 2 motions that were put forward, at every council meeting. A councillor will put something forward to say, I want this to be voted on. And there were 2 things that were put forward by Josh Gilligan, which were trounced on by the councillors that were there. Unfortunately, not all of the 11 councillors were there for one reason or another. And the ones that were there straight away said, we don't want to talk about it, and it's no. Both the motions. And you want to know what they were? One was tightening your belts and spending less because of the budget. They said no to that. And the second one, which was I found a very interesting motion, it was a motion put forward to do an audit and to make a memorandum of understanding public that we don't know about, it's not on the website, in regards to some money that was handed to one of the associations in the area. There was an investigation done in the Age newspaper about the Bunurong Land Council in Frankston. I don't know if you've heard about that. There was a bit of a misappropriation of funds up Frankston way about it. And because that investigation had been done, rightfully so, one of the councils here wanted to be responsible, brought that up as a motion and said, well, we should be doing an audit of our money because our council gave $300,000 in cash to the registered Aboriginal corporation here.
That's the
Bunurong Land Council, yes. The same land council that's been investigated on the other side of town, right? So you would think that'd be logical, wouldn't you? You would think, well, how is that $300,000 spent? Make that memorandum of understanding available on the website so the residents can see it and know where their rate money is. I don't know about you, but I was surprised. They gave them cash. Ratepayers' money, cash. I didn't even know about that. I don't know if any of you knew about it, but I didn't. And then on top of that, so they said, no, we're not discussing it, and no, we're not even entertaining the notion of that motion. And then on top of that, we also have a draft reconciliation plan that Heather mentioned earlier that Jenny Barrera is working on, which is going to give more money to these same people, more investment into whatever they need. So I find that, I literally, when it happened, I was shocked by that, but they didn't even discuss it and said no. And so I blurted out something during a council meeting. If you looked at the live stream, you'll probably hear my voice. Because I was quite taken aback by that. I thought, oh good, this is a good motion to, we get them to discuss it because it's important. Nothing, not a word. No, not even a discussion. So we were all very happy with that and they knew it. But we got told off. We got told off, which was last week during the meetings. And I also submitted a question. I submitted 2 questions during that meeting because as residents were allowed, you've got to give a notice, you submit the questions in writing and they answer them at the council meeting. Now, bear in mind, I've been doing this months. I keep going in and asking the same question, but in different ways. Trying to get an answer out of the CEO, because they're the ones that answer it. They had a standing CEO at the last meeting who was very rude during the meeting. She basically said, you've asked this question several times, and there are other ways, other avenues for you, and we're not going to answer it again, kind of like thing. So she was quite rude about it. And I just yelled out, well, I'm asking it because I'm not getting an answer. There are no other avenues. I've emailed, I've petitioned, I've written to you, I've done everything. So now we're going to go to the next stage now and have to be more vocal about it because they're ignoring it. And the question's always the same. It's how can you approve this 2040 plan when only a few hundred people know about it? There are over 300,000 people in this city. It's going to change the landscape of the city and all the residents should know about it and should be able to give feedback. Their answer is, well, we've done what the Act tells us to and we don't have to do anything else. We're not going to do anything else. In other words, there's not enough of you to cause a ruckus and so we're not going to listen to you. So it's in numbers, we need numbers.
Is there a mechanism to have a lack of confidence in the council members to remove it?
I've had other people bring that to me. It would be nice, wouldn't it, if you could do a conference and throw them out. Yeah. But I think the only avenue we've got is to vote them out at the next election, which is next year. Well, it's mail-in voting. It's mail-in voting, so we can only do the best we can do, and hopefully try to get our own people in, who we know will, Yeah.
About 50 different people. There was some bloke on there. He even had his mother that couldn't speak English on them.
Oh,
And they let that go.
Was this for the last council election, you're saying? There were many. I was going to run at that one, and there were like 25 people that ran. There was
There was some woman that was this bloke, she couldn't even speak English.
Yeah. Well, you can as a resident. Anybody can run to go on to council, and then it's up to you as a resident to vote for who you think is going to do the best job. I find that interesting that you were saying there's going to be like one person for each of the 13 wards, because that gives people in your local area a better chance of getting the person you want in. You know what I'm saying? So we're hoping that that's something we'll work towards.
Not with mailing voting though. Not with mailing voting.
can only work with the system we've got.
Only voting is just corruption plus.
Well, we can only, unfortunately, work with the system we've got right now. It would be good to change.
The only thing, we shouldn't have preferential voting, it should be the first past the post.
That is, I wrote a book about my experiences. I ran in both the federal election and the state election, and I can tell you, I could write a book about the shenanigans that go on during elections. I was new to it, and it was very, very eye-opening, like some of the stuff that goes on. And preferential voting is the top of my list. It is corrupt, right? We had independents that were outgunning the Liberals, didn't get anywhere because of the preferential voting system, where all the votes only go to Labor and Liberals. It was very unfair, very unfair. So the only reason that Daniel Andrews didn't lose his seat because there were other people that they were voting for with his seat. So,
We're going to have these meetings. One person said, and we all back it. One person.
well,
This
yes,
program,
yes,
UAP, Australian
Yes.
One.
yes, you're right, you're right.
One independent, so
Yep.
this one, and you hold that one person with back in 1%.
Yes.
Suck it up, you're an account for this.
Well, this is the issue that you had during that, especially during the state election. There were so many people from different parties running, and they were not helping the cause by infighting amongst each other. Yes, you're right. There should be someone who stands out from the pack who you should follow and not get dragged away by other ideas. Unfortunately, egos in politics run everything, unfortunately. Even if you're trying to do the right thing, you know, it's a difficult thing to have to work around it. Yes, I said I could write a book about that. That was a big eye-opener. That's why I believe we have to start at ground level. We have to get people into councils. This is why all the councils are being run by Labor-leaning, left-leaning people. They've got all their people into all the councils, and that's why we're doing what we're doing now, why we're stuck with it. I'd say that a lot of the residents are pretty conservative, and they're not entirely happy about that. But the only way to change it is to get people into the councils who are going to vote the way that you want them to. That's the issue, isn't it? Like, if that's what you want, and we want to change things, ground floor, ground level with everybody. You need to get your own people in. Yes.
Patricia, what are your strategies for letting as many people as possible know about all this stuff?
Well, at the moment, we've our group's been running for a few months now. 3 months now, I think. And we've now got to a point where we are, town hall meetings was my idea to get out to people. We're going to do them regularly and get more information out to people and give people a chance like yourself, face-to-face questions. So we're going to be doing more of that. We're getting more social media set up now and having social media campaigns. We're basically going to set up our group as a separate, I guess, in a way, community program for people to get involved in, and whatever it is that you can do to help is what we're going to do. We're going to get more people involved that way. I am obviously working with the council pretty much nearly every day in one way or another, and as I said earlier on, I jokingly said, they must hate me. They must hate when they see my name, because I'm always asking questions and making them accountable for things. Because I'm looking, see, this is the issue that we've got. There's so much going on at the council, most people just don't follow it, it's too much, it's very involved, and so they don't follow along with it. So part of my mission here is, I'm doing the following and I'm breaking it down for everybody else. And I'm just letting people know. Because I think the more that people get to know, education is power, knowledge is power. If you know what's going on, then you can pick things and you can then fight back against the council for it.
How about letterboxing?
We have done a bit of that, but we need a lot of money for that, so we need to fundraise.
Patricia, what you're really doing is really, really good. And over the years, what I've found is we're not getting information out into the household. I did the Big Miranda Committee for years and years, and we couldn't get into the homes. I did a booklet for every household by 2009. This is why I'm finding the council is not getting the message to the people. There's X amount of people that do not do social media. So you've got to look at every type of media that you can get to them. Like you know, what you're doing, that how do we get, and that's why I want to do coffee with a councillor, and of course Manor Lake's shopping centre and the Dennis family have been very good to me. That's where we need to go. Sit out there and get to know the people, because we just don't know the new people that are moving in here, and that's the trouble we get. So, or you've got to be advocates. In business you have advocates, and there's 5 rungs to the advocate, and the last one is those advocates, like in business, that advocate can make your business or can break your business. So this is what we've got to do. Each one of us probably needs to do an area, perhaps go door knock, perhaps letterbox door. Look, to stand for council, you are looking at now $15,000 or $20,000 if you're going to do it well. That's where it is. Like, I just did the Dancing with the Stars, and I had a lot of good advocates putting it on social media. But I sat on that phone day in, day out. I sent emails to every possible group. That's the only way we're going to get the message out. That's the only way we're going to get the message out. So that's what you've got to look at.
Just before you go, just be sure one of the gang is 6.
I don't wish to go now. Because I wouldn't support her. She was going to stand as an I'll be honest with you. She was going to stand as an independent, but she, and I was going to have her. And then she left and went to the Liberal Party, and all the business people said to me, Heather, stay away, you are independent, don't brand yourself with a political party. But then Tim Palace was very clever. He called me into the office because he didn't want me on a polling booth, because he knows that this is my area. And so he gave me that $5 million for the traffic report. He said, I'll put I'll get the Liberal Party, I'll put in 100 Manor Lake. And I said, I don't want that, I want to reach up the river, get the people out of there. But he then did that. Well, there's no way to stand on polling booth.
That's actually why I asked, because that $120 million, that was to do with the Land Road extension, wasn't it?
It was McGrath's Road back to
That's one of the things that Mia Shaw was running on.
That's right.
$4 million I'll do with it. Sure.
But anyway, at this stage, I'm not very popular down there with anyone, and I don't give a continental, I was going to say something else. I don't give a continental. I've been in this city since 1969, when there was 30,000 people. Peace Road wasn't even matter. I just see it that we're not keeping up with the infrastructure, and we're spending too much money on other things, and I think this is where we've got to stop again. They need to reduce their staff, they need to reduce their services, and they need to reduce the services and get back to what the people want. And this is why we need a strong group. But can I just say, please, when you come to a council meeting, you must not speak, you must be quiet, because they will just want to get rid of you and put you out. So that's why, please, because I just said you must be really, really careful. Please, there's Councillor Hill's just coming. So please be very, very careful when you're in that council chamber. I don't want you to sit your bum or have that council. Sit there, don't speak, but make sure you've got your questions. The other silly thing is I don't understand why you've got to sit through the full council meeting before you can put your question up. Okay?
Is there something in place in the council where we can actually go to the meeting and present a question at the podium?
No. That,
Other councils do have that.
well, years ago, if we go back to years ago, that's how it occurred. You could ask your question and then you get an answer right on the spot. But now it's not.
Why is that? Is that a new?
It's just a new rule that they bring.
They put a new rule. The governance rule. Yes, exactly.
Governance rules got introduced in 2020, and that was one of the things.
I got Sam to do it. Simple question. During the council meeting, your roles there, there's coffee and biscuits and we've got private business to attend.
Yes.
So my question is, you're not a company, you're not I'm a ratepayer.
That's exactly what
I pay your wages. What kind of business do you have?
Yes. Well, basically, if you look at the Act,
Don't
yes. Yeah.
Don't bullshit me, you got no private business here.
Well, the Act says they can because, I know, but you see, this is how it works.
Private businesses say, I own a company.
Yes.
So I've got some shareholders.
Yes.
We have a meeting on a Friday night.
Yes.
That's private business.
Yes. Yes. I know what you're saying.
A council has no private business. You put forward your ideas to everybody
Yes.
that pays your wages.
Well, this is the issue that we
They
have.
give you $5 million or whatever to work out
Yeah,
on your
yes.
grade. I'm doing it a pick and shovel.
Yes, I know what you're saying, but the way the council uses the act, yes, I know, but the act says that they are entitled to withhold information for whatever reason, for the public interest or whatever it is, or whatever, you know, so they are entitled to do that. One of the things they do that for, let me finish, is because if they're in, say, a dealing with a company and releasing information about that would prejudice the dealings that they have, that's an excuse. That they don't have to actually release it publicly.
That's why we're here at this
Yes,
point in time.
I know.
What private business are they?
I know. Well, this is the thing. This is why we're here, why you're here, because we are going to organise into numbers to be able to push back on the council and their processes. This is one of the reasons why I'm doing this. I can read their rules and their act, and then I work things accordingly to that. So this is where that comes in handy. It's like basically using their own information against them. So they can't just, you know, just pretty much say, shut up and go home, I don't want to hear it. So we need to be able to work on that as a group. Hence why I'm out here. Like I said, knowledge is power. If you know what they're doing and you know what's going on, then we can, as a group, mobilise to be able to get that to them to say, no, we're not happy with that, stop that, or change that, or whatever it is that we want. They use that against us at the moment because they don't, like Heather mentioned, they don't get to everybody. So they don't tell everybody what's going on. And the Act says they're supposed to only do, they follow the Act, and the Act says they have an engagement policy. They only have to talk to a certain people who are affected by their decisions, and that's enough. That's why they can get away with talking to like 50 people and passing a huge plan that's going to affect everybody, because the Act says they don't have to talk to everybody. So they follow that letter of the law. Exactly right. So I had the CEO tell me in one of the meetings, if you aren't happy with the way this is being done, you can go and petition the state government and change the law. That's what he said to me. Yeah, well, that's just the way it is. So they follow that. So if we want to be able to, unfortunately, play them at their own game, we have to actually use what they use, because that's what they're governed by. So,
I reckon we're going to get the numbers, and we're not violent, we're respectful.
yes.
So we're going to make changes. We're not going to go by the acts. The people power without violence, with respect. We're going to change things because we've had enough. We see all the underlying tricks and deception, and with this COVID rubbish, because it was all planned, and all these acts and the things you see there that changed, they changed when the COVID happened. So that's all we planned.
2020 is when all that was introduced.
And we've been rallying in the city, and we're the most peaceful, respectful people you've ever known, babies and prams and all that. And we had the police come and charge us, hurt us, spray toxic, the most toxic capsicum spray I've ever experienced in my life. We had horses chasing us, and here we are. You'll hear on the news, even on the Christian channel, they say, oh, these terrible
Domestic terrorists? Apparently we're domestic terrorists and dissidents now?
Yes. Enough is enough. We know your plans.
Yep.
We know it's from the globalist worldwide thing, and we know.
May I speak to that? One of the reasons why this action group was started was out of sheer frustration, right? Because I know that no matter how many emails I was sending or anything like that, I wasn't getting listened to. And so I think the turning point came when this Wyndham 2040 plan was out in the public, and people started to realise what was going on, or questioning, people waking up. They turned up to the feedback sessions and were yelling at this planning guy, right? I don't know, but it wasn't, I'm not saying yelling because they were just screaming, but it was just sheer frustration. They weren't being listened to. And so I consider that this action group is a way for residents to be heard, to be listened to by the council, rather than them always turning away or ignoring, alright? So this is why I'm here.
Regular, and we meet regularly.
We do meet fortnightly. We meet fortnightly. We're on social media. We have a website. It's just grown. Like over the last 3 months, it's grown exponentially because there are a lot of people out here who are as frustrated as you are. Yes.
I wanted to congratulate you all for being here. I come from Lenara, and I think we need our schools to connect through across communities.
Yes, we do. That's
We
in my plan.
We came all the way out to bring you support because we've seen some very good news article a few weeks ago from a journalist voicing fighting concern in a very, very objective way. And I understand in my community against the massive rollout.
Yes.
And I do understand we cannot stay alone in our corners. And what you said is exactly what we are facing. They bring police in the council room. The first time we voiced the question, they chased me, they forced me to leave the council chamber. We came back and we managed to voice a question. It's on the recording of video.
Yes.
But now they are using the same trick as they are doing with you. They are doing the same trick in Kingston Council.
Yes, it's all of them.
They say we are repetitive.
Yes, because they consider that having concerned residents turn up is scary for them. But what they're not doing is looking at the reasons why residents keep turning up. It's because they're not being listened to. If they made an idea like this, where people could be, and I'm very thankful for Councillor Jasmine Hill and Councillor Heather Bucks for coming here because they've tried to do the right thing and meet residents face to face, because that's what residents want and need. If the ratepayers are putting their money towards a council, they have a right to be involved in the decision-making processes. And one of the reasons why people are so frustrated and unhappy about this plan is because they don't know anything about it. It's just happening without their, So, and as you've mentioned, and other residents have mentioned, there are many things on the list right now the residents are unhappy about. And so it's happening at every council. I know that people are turning up at every council with concerns about many different things. It's not just one thing, it's many different things. And the councils should understand there's a reason for that. If residents were more involved in the decision-making processes and had more of a say, would they be having all this pushback? No. Clearly they're having this pushback because of their processes are out of touch with the residents. They're out of touch. Right? And then, it's coming across that way, isn't it? So, hence why we're here and why we're doing this. As I said, this is going to become a regular recurrence. I'll be touching on different things at each one. Today was an introduction into the way the council is, so you know who you're dealing with. And we're touching on the plan because that's the proposal that's before them at the moment that we're not happy about. It hasn't been voted on yet. So we want to let the councillors know we are unhappy with it before they vote, so they understand that they're not getting the okay by all the residents like the council is saying. There's a lot of residents who are unhappy with this plan or have concerns and questions about it that have not been answered. And they're not letting us. I've asked on several occasions with different things. So I went and did this town hall by myself anyway. I invited the council members and 2 of them have graciously consented to do that, but the rest of them don't want to know. So we've got to just keep working on that. I do a lot of research and my background is the legal industry, so I'm happy to do a talk on all of those. The budget proposal is the other one that everybody should be unhappy about. I urge everybody to jump on the council website and put your feedback in for the proposal for the budget. It closes tomorrow, and I want you all to have your say about it. They want to plunge us into $68 million worth of debt because they don't have enough money.
That's the beginning.
Right now. They want to push that up to 170 million, because the budget goes for 4 years in advance. And the other thing is they have, I think, about 1,400 staff. They want to push it up to 1,500. They want to keep going. Why they need so much staff is beyond me.
It's much more than that.
That's what the report says,
The
though.
trouble is they're using contractors.
Oh, contractors. On top of that.
Budget and
There you go. So 1,500 plus contractors. Do you understand how much of our ratepayers' money goes towards contractors and their wages rather than going into services? So these are the things that we have to question.
Excuse me, who pays them?
The ratepayers. Yes. So I feedback in. We want to let them know in numbers that we're not happy. Yes, Jasmine.
Yeah, of course you can. This is Jasmine.
Hi everybody, I'm here, I'm representing Harrison Ward, just want to support Council Marcus and also hear your voice. So I just want to touch on a few things. So I just went on a peace walk this morning, you see. So I want to actually encourage people working towards peace. I understand that there are a lot of anxiety, anger, disappointment, what I hear in the room. I believe there is some sort of gaps in between council what we're doing and the community, and that's why we're here, try to bridge that gap, try to remove that gap, and that's why we're here. Thank you so much for organizing this town hall meeting. That's my one of the first town hall meeting with so many people here. This is exactly what we need to be here to listen to you. And yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Is your idea of peace just do what we tell you?
No.
As in communism? As in communism, because just do what we say, we know what's best for you.
I don't understand why this has to do with communism. I'm born and raised from Malaysia. I have a very clean background. I don't, sorry.
He's just not rigid enough. What he's trying to say is that he's frustrated because
I see. I don't understand. Thank you.
Do what we tell you to do, because we know what's best for you.
Yeah, that's exactly what we are trying to do. That we represent you, we try to be as transparent as you can.
Yes.
You can ask for freedom of information if you need to. And
That's coming. That's coming.
yeah, so I'm just, because Tricia mentioned a few things just now, right? First of all, it's a budget. So we passed a draft budget. So budget, I have a personally, I'm here today, not representing council, representing myself. So just make it clear. And so budget, so we passed the draft budget. So just want to clarify, I may not have similar opinion with you, but I want to clarify from my perspective. And so budget, our revenue is 300 million. So at the start of the term, I think we had $55 million debt. Today we have about 15 million or so. This is a fast-growing city, so we need to actually keep up with the infrastructure, able to meet the needs. If we don't buy now, don't build at the community centers now, in the future we have to build it, but it's much more expensive. So in the chamber, I talk about a piece of land in Trevor. Last term, people don't want to buy it for 3 million, I think. Now we're buying this term for 13 million. So like 10 million, just like that.
Jasmine,
Yes.
how long have you lived in Wyndham?
I live in Wyndham for 12 years now.
I've been here 38 years.
Yes.
All of those 38 years, Wyndham has been in the biggest growth corridor in Australia.
Yeah.
It has not changed in all that time. Budgets are always an issue. Costs are always an issue. When I came to Wyndham, I paid $9,000 for my piece of land. That same piece of land today is $400,000 or $500,000. Now, the point I'm making is costs overruns are always there.
Yeah, I understand.
They are
Thank you.
always there. They can't be
That's
used
right.
as an excuse.
That is right. We also have to take into thank you so much, Joe. We also have to take into consideration during 1980s the change of government with the government where the negative theory investment, I think that pushed the property values through the roof. It's unmanageable at the moment. So a lot of young people can't afford the houses, the properties
I'm actually a
anymore.
builder as well, so
Yeah.
I understand the cost. But the point that I've made there is overall, so I've been a builder for 43 years, and over all that time, builders have always struggled with costs.
Yeah.
Always.
You're right.
It's land or it's right
That's
down to
right.
materials.
So, especially right now, you're right. So if it's slightly more right wing, I would think that economists would think, look, let's just not spend money. If it's slightly more leftist, we probably think, look, economists, yes, let's spend the money. If the government doesn't spend money, who will spend money? Businesses will have lost confidence and they won't be able to activate, to actually make the businesses in confidence that we can actually continue to grow our economy. So this is the time that we are living in. Yeah, so just quickly talk about budget. So 117 million, I understand councillors objected this budget. For me personally, 180 million, 170 million, 180 divided by 4 years. 1 year is about 45 million. So 45 million, our revenue is about 300 million. So that's about less than 15%. Less than 15% each year. That's our borrowings. I'm sure many of you borrow much more than 15% of your income actually to support your house, right? Mortgages. The other point I think you forgot to talk about, I forgot. So I just want to clarify there are certain things. But we absolutely need people like you and all of you to take your time on a Saturday afternoon to speak to us. There are many things that I can see you're not happy. I'm also not happy. There are something, but we actually continuously work towards a solution that if it's not the best, at least it's good enough that we can all live with. And there are many changes, challenges in the city at the moment. So in the economy, a downturn like this, so I really appreciate your time. And I just want to pass the mic back to
Thank you, Jess, and I appreciate it. Can I just ask one question? One of the motions got off back was about tightening your belt and cutting back on spending. Can anyone please tell me why, when that's been brought up, the council's not confirming that they're doing anything about that? Because I understand, like one of the issues I'm actually going to put on the website is how come there hasn't been a way to describe to residents that we're doing everything we can to audit ourselves, streamline our services, cut back where we can to try and save money so we don't have to borrow so much. Is there something on the council website where it says that? Because I've looked, there's nothing in the proposal about it. Would you not think that that would give confidence to residents that the council is doing the right thing by proving that they're trying to do the right thing about handling the money? Because to me, when I saw that, my first initial thought was, okay, well there needs to be a forensic audit done on the books, and I want them to explain to me where all this money is being spent, because clearly, in my eyes, money's being wasted. Because that's a lot of money, and I understand we are a fast-growing city and money has to be spent on development. That's understandable. But there must be a lot of either too much staff, too much contractors, events costing too much money. Money's being wasted. Yeah.
I can definitely respond on this one. I'm not sure where data come from, 1,400. So when I first started my term, we had about close to 1,900 staff. Yeah. So about probably 8-9 years ago, we suddenly have a council decided has so many staff, about 80 to 500. But now, under the new management, we had really good team of executives where we actually, I looked at the data the other day, it was 1,668 employees. We actually went down a little bit. So under the new management, right, so we have a Fit for Future program where we actually try to restructure the entire organization. So it's like, not sure it's cutting the balance, but I did calculate, I thought that is actually much more, hopefully it's much more efficient in the way that we run council. We're not stopping here, but we try our best to do more. I'll pass this to Councillor Marcus.
Would you like to tell the people how much we're paying out in wages for next financial year? Do you know? Do you know? I want to know, do you know?
No, you tell us.
$182 million is being paid out for the council wages for the next financial year. We are paying more than what Casey is, and yet Casey is 100,000 people more than we have in this city. Yes.
With that, if you're going to talk about wages, is all those employees, is their superannuation covered?
And some, yes, of course it is.
Well,
yes.
That's not really a right response, because some government departments cannot fund their superannuation funds.
And see, going back, there was a super fund, and the police force was very much into this, where they had that natural growth that could go up again. But we've only got a few of those left in our council now, because it was just.
What I'm saying is, when these numbers are being touted,
yes,
those costs to do with super are not taken into the account.
That's part of their package.
So if it's part of their package, you get it through.
Have you read the budget proposal? Is it anything you haven't had a look at it?
Well, you really need to do it because, and this is why I work as a forensic accountant, because that's their job. The one we've got here, he worked for the tax, I've had a meeting with him this morning, worked for the taxation department in fraud and corruption. He can go through that and he just goes, look.
Yeah.
These are the things, and I believe that's what we need to have to help the councillors come to terms, because budgets are really big. And that's where a lot of our money, $182 million for the next 12 months in wages. Now they're telling us they're restructuring, but I still see people being employed. I'll give you another story. The contractors all came to me. The plumbers and the electricians who have worked for this council for 25 years knocked on my door and said, Heather, please, we need to talk to you. They're going to get rid of us. So the council, and they all voted for the part of me, brought in a great big company to handle what they call bundled services, and this is the new thing in councils. And you know what? Our little contractors are not getting one job, and it costing more. 800,000 our bill was last year for these local contractors. This year it's gone to 3 million, and I've asked for a report. I have asked for a report, but our council, they come to knock on my door and talk to me and says, you know what, Heather, they had to close a function the other night because the electrician lived the other side of Geelong. If it had been me, I would have been there 20 minutes. So these are the things that we've got to look at.
It doesn't support local business.
It does not. It does not. And that's what I said. They talk about jobs. I know what it is because I ran a business in this. I had a big business, I better talk to you. And then I had a lingerie ladies' wear shop for 30 years. I'm on the Chamber of Commerce. I'm hearing what they're saying. We have to support our local people, but it's not happening. And this is where now the contractors that are coming into this city are not our local people. So this is why we need you all to stand up and say, this is it. But as I said before, make sure when you're in that council chamber, you don't open your mouth.
With the salary, I think it's a situation in Victoria with the local government. CEOs earning 300,000, 400,000. I have resident in the outside, Councillor Hill, you're earning 300,000 and you're going to fix this and this. I said, no. I'm like, we are like 30,000. It's allowances, it's not a salary. So with the salary, I believe, I also cannot understand this. Sometimes I calculated is one of these senior person sit down, have a coffee with someone else, it's actually worth $1,000. I don't understand. I know people who work in university, professors, they're earning about 150,000. I know a principal in a private school earning 700,000 per year. The airline CEO earning 1.8 billion as $1 million. This salary thing I don't understand, but I believe it's a Victorian statewide issue where a lot of people actually earning this much, and you don't understand how it actually worth the time that you actually spend and worth that much. So I don't understand this. In worldwide, I'm from Malaysia originally. My salary when we passed, like 1 month, is like 2,000 ringgit. When I was in UK, I did my PhD. The postdocs over there, when we graduated, is 25,000 pounds, which is about 50,000. So I think we are living in Australia. We're pretty privileged to be able to earn an average salary of Australia is about 80, probably 90 now, and then in council is about 120 average. At the moment, we're slightly lower. Thank you very much.
Okay, can I just finish on that point on that, please, and I'll come to you. So if you, I've actually read through the budget proposal, and it does break all these figures down, and unless you've got an accounting background, it's actually not that easy to disseminate. So, but they are spending a lot of money on wages. That is true. And the report only said about 1,592 staff. That's not including contractors. So I think that we have to, as I said, and I'll repeat this, knowledge is power. We need to know what they're doing so we can push back on it. Because they count on residents being not involved. As you can see, this is great. We've had a good showing today of people who are interested in how that works, because the reality is they have control over what happens here. So if we want to have a say, we've got to be able to, push back on them. And I believe that they definitely are needing to be not just restructured, they need to be streamlined. There needs to be something built into the system so that they can do, I guess, a self-audit every year. There needs to be savings made, and they need to prove to the residents that they're actually doing the right thing, because what they say and what they do. My frustration is the transparency side of things. That the council's got it out there, this is what they do, but if you then try to delve into asking questions, they're like, what are you asking me questions for? You know, it's there. So, but we have a right to ask. So, as I said, please jump onto the website and go and put your feedback in. Ask for that. If that's a concern of yours, saying, why do we need to borrow so much? Why can't you just streamline your costs? Cut back on services. I understand development needs to go ahead. We still need to build schools. We need still, community centres, kindergartens, whatever. Yes, we do, because we're growing, and that's understandable. But there's definitely areas where they can visit it and cut back. Definitely, for now, even. We don't want to be in a situation. I think I read somewhere that debt's going to put us into. It's going to add like $700 to $1,000 a year of debt to every household. Is what they're planning to do. We already have that problem with the state government doing that. You know what I mean? It's coming at residents from every quarter. So you can understand that part of the frustration is not just council, it's just everything. Like, life is hitting everybody really hard right now, even councillors. And so whatever we can do to make our lives easier, we should be doing.
I would say, isn't that the way we're going to lose our houses and be happy? That's how they're planning to do it.
Yes, it's all tied in. Yes.
That's something that's in, yes, people question. I'll go back to this lady here,
Was it Councillor Jennings?
Hill.
Councillor Hill. So do you believe the smart city, the funds that we need for smart city are helpful and should be in the budget? If you're trying to lower the, is this a waste of money, or do you approve of this?
Smart City's got a portfolio, but
It doesn't matter.
It's
We need to know where the councillors stand.
yeah, but I mean, it's very difficult for a councillor to answer a question about portfolio they don't control. So
They're sitting in the left.
she's happy to
Want
answer
to
that.
save money? Do you think a smart city is going to help us?
Smart
Is
city
it worth
is
just worth the money?
yeah, so smart city is actually, so the world is moving like 50, is how many years ago when computers first started? Like 1970s, I guess, is that right? Yeah. We have a journey now, quite a few 50 years or so, right? So today the technology keep advancing. So also, we talk about EV cars, 2030s, we're going to have all driving electric cars.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
That's what the government's saying.
Oh,
She's saying that's what the government's saying. Yeah, the government is saying that.
But it's a fallacy.
It's like,
They're going to change the law to make that happen. They are.
So that's where the gaps are. People actually really not know actually the government and people seem to be disconnected. It's good to hear the voice as well.
It's not because the government has one view and the residents have another, and they don't match.
So,
Sorry, they don't.
so the world is changing quite rapidly. Recently with the AI, artificial intelligence, where people losing potentially might be losing jobs because of a lot of the jobs when they start typing the letters and the computer start actually having printing and all this and take over, people lose job a bunch. Yeah?
Yes.
And then now things keep changing. In the past, now it's like if you are actually a bit more geeky, it's so cool because you are able to program. The so many things is not activated, so automated as well. In the hospital, in many. So these are how things are changed at the moment. So we got to keep up with the change and also. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. So this is where we need to.
The key issue I would like to raise strongly. I made a study about smart cities and what is behind. Smart cities are relying on the 5G technology. 5G technology is written on the report of Korea Group, who is the one analyzing the spectrum demand of 5G in Australia. Is being pushed not because it's going to increase our mobile phone reception. It's being pushed for the smart
But anyone, just about the smart city, yes, we'll have a, if you like, we can have another town hall meeting and make it about the smart city side of things, because we don't have a lot of time left here with the hire of the hall. We have to start wrapping things up here. But yeah, if you're happy for me to do that, we can come back and do another one. I've researched the smart city plan as well, and I can tell you about all the initiatives of that one as well. Sorry? I know there's so many going at the moment. The smart city one is there's changes with that, but not all the money comes from the council for that. They just recently got, I think, a grant from the state government. I think it was $492,000 to be used towards smart city initiatives. So of course the council doesn't use all ratepayers' money for everything. They do get money from the state government and the federal government for things as well. So, all right. So
Yes, someone has left a bracelet outside.
has anyone lost a bracelet?
It's just out on the table.
Anyone? No?
Not mine.
Not yours, you sure?
Yeah. All right, so I would like to wrap this up and say, look, thank you all for attending. It's lovely seeing so many people here who want to be involved. Our information is on the back table there. We have flyers, cards. You can jump on our website, follow our Facebook page if you want to keep involved and know what we're doing. Because we're always looking for people to get involved and help out with any of the things that we're doing. Our last fundraising campaign pretty much covered all of that, all of our flyers and whatever we delivered them. So we do have a registration sheet there for anybody who wants to provide us their email if you want to be kept informed as well directly. So we've got a few people on there, well, that's great.
There's just a few people that Michelle and Linda. I just want to get you clarified, so you come down to the corner and I'll just make sure I have it nice and clear for you. Thank you.
Some of the handwriting's a bit hard to read, to put on our list. We've got a huge list of followers already that are on our email list, which we keep informed. I send out a monthly newsletter as well. So we've got a pretty good system going now that keeps everybody regularly informed, and we have meetings, face-to-face meetings every fortnight that people turn up to. So you're all welcome to join in. You can contact me anytime, my card's there, if you have any questions or you want to join in. I'm looking forward to the helpline. I work in the legal industry, and so I work full time. I've got kids. All my spare time is taken up by this because I feel it's important. This is important. We need to get in there and we need to push back if we want things to go the way that we want them to go, and there is strength in numbers. And I know there are a lot of people out there that feel the same way you do. So thank you very much for taking time out